Good morning, all. Good morning, all. Myself, Mahesh Gadekar, and today we are going to see predictive modeling through artificial neural networks. Predictive modeling through artificial neural network. So, we are going to see this into some briefing, then about the artificial neural network and its application, and we are going to base this based on the environmental engineering first. In today's lecture we are going to see artificial neural network in its brief, how it is being developed, how it is being calculating its values, how it is learning the facts and giving the desired result to us, how we are going to see, and how we are going to observe the correctness of the neural network develop, how to utilize them into our field for optimization, modeling, that we are going to see in the next lecture, and application program will be MATLAB. So as you can see over here, we are knowing about the computing. We are knowing biological neural networks. We are knowing the artificial neural network. Just a briefly about it and application. So computing nothing but accounting, calculating. The discipline of computing is the systematic study of algorithmic process that describe and transform information. There is a theory, analysis, design, efficiency, implementation and application. So in computing we can say that it is a systematic study where have a stipulated algorithm. Through the direction provided we are going to utilize those computational methods and we can achieve the desired results. There are two types of programming as mentioned over here: hard computing and the soft computing. Hard computing and the soft computing. So what is this hard computing is? It's a analytical model. It's having certain binary logic, RISC system, numerical analysis can be performed, some softwares which are binding to those rails and that going to compute your values. Some programs can be written and that can give us result. Two values logics, exact input data is presented that have exactly and strictly following the sequence orders, and it gives the precise answer. So in hard computing one can say that it is a systematic algorithm. It has a limit and we have to do a calculation within that limit. We cannot go beyond certain limits, and what a result obtained, that are exact result, and that's why it is written as it is a precise there are precise answer. When it comes to the soft computing is nothing but it is not having certain hard and fast rules, and thus no precise answer, but it is much closer to the your answer, or might be that is a most precise answer. So what are the facts associated with the soft computing? Tolerant to imprecision, uncertainty, partial truth and application. Over there I need to have a strict rules. Some of the things like fuzzy logic, neural networks, probabilistic reasoning are present in the soft computing. In hard computing I am giving the limits, I am giving the rules, and I am binding myself into the rules only. So I am having there some criteria or assumptions to be made. Over here, in soft computing, they evolve their own programs. They need not have any limitations. They learn the data and they evolve their own programs to justify the prediction. There can be multi-valued logic. They can operate over ambiguous and noisy data. As mentioned over here, I need a exact input data. In soft computing, I can handle ambiguous noisy data. It's a method of parallel computing and I'm getting the approximate answer as said earlier. So if I compare both the things, hard computing and soft computing, hard computing giving me precise answer. However, beforehand I have made certain assumption. So once assumption failed, my hard computed result, even though it is exact, it is not going to match with the predicted value. However, in soft computing, I am more reliably going to the approximate answer. Mostly, I am touching the limit of my exact answer. So that's the difference in hard computing and soft computing, and each is having its own advantages and limitations. What are the unique features of this soft computing? Soft computing is an approach for constructing systems which are computationally intelligent. They possess human-like expertise in the particular domain. They can adapt to the changing environment and can learn do better. They can explain their decision. As like my hard computing, I am getting a exact answer. Over here, there would be a justification to the explanation. Although I am not going to state, we are able to find how they are finding the result. As like it is mentioned that they possess human-like expertise. Whatever data supplied to them, they are learning that, and then they are giving their results. Which are the components of this soft computing? So there should be certain rules or system through which they are learning the things, like fuzzy logic. What will happen if this condition occur? That will be the fuzzy logic. If this condition arises, what would be the response? And same data is been produced to them, and they are finding the most possible answer with respect to the fuzzy logic. There are some evolutionary computations based on evolution of species. It's a random approach. We are finding them on the basis of evolution, how system has been developed. That means they are developing their own knowledge about that data provided. There are genetic algorithms, more swarm intelligence, and colony optimization, Jaya algorithm, and many more. There are too many algorithms available to go for the soft computing. There is a machine learning techniques are also available. And today we are going to discuss this neural network, how they learn, how they adapt the situation, how they learn the data to produce a better results, approximate or exact result. So today we are going to see this neural network. And as mentioned, neural networks is a concept developed by biological neural system. We are going to call this soft computing technique, which adopting neural networks methodology by artificial neural networks. I am artificially generating the neurons, their connections, establishing certain values to activate that neurons and produce the result, and thus artificial neural networks. Before understanding how artificial neural network works, let's take a look on this biological neural network. In the childhood, we are unable to walk, and later on with the walking, I am able to stand, then fall, then again fall, then take a first step, try to balance myself and again falling, and this process is continuously going on until I learn to walk. I learn to make a second step, I learn to make 1, 2 and 3 step, and so on until I walk. How it's been developed? So we are having the neurons in our system. There are millions of neurons present in our bodies, and they are getting the impulses, signals through the sensors available with my body, available in my whole body. They are generating the response. What is happening when I am doing this? They are generating the responses that are electrical impulses that is being passed through these dendrites to the axons, to the neurons and to the brain, and they are judging this, finding judgmental characteristics of this activity that is being performed by that child. Thus, signals, electrical pulses passes through the synaptic gap by means of certain process, chemical process or molecules or activational energy. Once sufficient information is received in the soma, cell transfer the signal to the axon. Right? There is soma, synaptic gaps, soma, information received, processed and passed to the next neuron. And thus this system transferring data from one point, pricking to the hand, I am going to response and I need to remove that pin which has been pricked over my hand. That is what response I am receiving within a fraction of second. So likewise my biological neural network works. It generates a response, it gets a response, then it generates the data about it, transmit it to the processing unit, and processing unit generates its output, transfer the response or activity to be done through the series of these neurons, and finally I am reaching to my outcome. Like that child, if he is making this step, he is going to fall, he need to balance, and that is what response developed over the period of data provided by the this sensors in the body. So neurons and their connection is neither binary nor synchronous nor stable. They are just developing the data and processing them. Now artificial neural network, as said over there is a soma, there is an axon and dendrites which are transferring the data. I need to make that values, the neurons, soma, in my mathematical format. So you can see over here in figure 2, I am mentioning the components of neural network. There is a input data source like a sensors in my bodies. There are neurons, somas, neurons, their highly network connections, and there will be the output. So number of hidden layer, 1, 2, or there could be n numbers of hidden layer, there could be n numbers of input variables, there could be n numbers of neurons. These are known as the neuron. Each part resembles to soma is known as neuron or nodes, and there is a series of connection between each and every data point, node point and response point. And I can have a n numbers of output also. In an analogy to the brain, an entity made up of interconnected neurons, neural networks are made up of interconnected processing elements called units which respond in parallel to set of input signals to each. The unit is equivalent of brain counterpart, the neuron. Why we should go for the artificial neural network? They have a better filtering capacity than empirical model, as I have conveyed in the comparison between soft computing and hard computing. Artificial neural networks have better filtering capacity than empirical model. Artificial neural networks are more adaptive than empirical model. They have a specific training algorithm where we just adjust weight factor between nodes until we achieve desired input and output pattern. Remember this thing. I am just developing the connection of neurons and which gives me answer for the uh, responses that have been developed to the input data. Artificial neural networks are proven good multiple input and multiple output system. As mentioned over there, I can have a n numbers of neurons, I can have a n numbers of input, and I can have a n numbers of response. Let's see how it works. So let's consider a problem that I am having a three numbers of variable x1, x2 and x3. In our environmental engineering field, where we may, or the chemistry, I can have a pH, I can have a chemical dosing, I can have a mixing time or mixing speed over here as a variable, and this is my input data for which I need to generate a output. So I am passing this input data into my input layer. So I can have a n numbers of variables over here, x1, x2 and x3. In present scenario, I am explaining it with the three input parameters, namely x1, x2 and x3. This data has been passed to the input layer and it is transferred to each node present in the hidden layer. So currently I have produced a single hidden layer over there. There are three nodes and which are getting data from this input layer. So generally this input pattern, like my pH scale, suppose this x1 is a pH. My pH scale is ranging from 0 to 14. Whereas if I am talking about this dosing pattern, this could be 100 mg per liter to 1000 mg per liter or 1000 mg per liter to the 10,000 mg per liter. So there is a variation and there could be mixing speed. It could be 1000 rpm to the 5000 rpm or 10,000 rpm. So there is a variation in the data present over there. And so in input layer, generally I go for the normalization of the input data. That's why I'm mentioning instead of input to the input layer. Over here I can normalize my data such that result should not deviate too much and they can successfully pass to the next network without making too many calculation for my data given. So in hidden layer, as you can see over here, what is been there, I am getting input from the input 1, 2, 3 to the node 1. Similarly to node 2, I am getting input from all three input layer nodes, and similarly for the node 3 in the hidden layer I am getting input from the first, second and third input layer node. Similarly in the output I am producing the two output, and to which input is produced by the hidden layer 1, and each node is giving data to the output or the response. So likewise I am getting the response as a y1 and y2. So in this network I need to find this connection which will trigger my output to produce as a y1 for a given condition of x1, x2 and x3. Similarly, these nodes should be such weighted, such activated that they should transmit the data in such a manner that x1, x2 and x3 for given condition they can produce the output of y2. So let's let it be in deeper manner. What is happening in the node? So I'm having x1, x2 and x3, my variables. And now we are going to look what is happening in particularly node at the node section in the hidden layer. x1, x2, x3 input are given. As you can see, each node is transferring its data to the hidden layer number 1, node 1. So I am calling them as a weight 1 for this network between input layer to the node 1, W1J, W2J, W3J. This data is transferred to the node 1 of node J of a hidden network 1, and a simple mathematical calculation I am going to perform over here, that is summation of product of input data to the weight of the network. What is summation of input data, that is the normalized input, and the weight applied to this connection? So x1 multiplied by w1j plus x2 multiplied by w2j plus x3 multiplied by w3j. I am calling it as a sum of product. Now I am having the data from the all the node and its connection. I am making a sum of product, and what I am going to do over here, as this data is not normalized now, it is having huge value. I am going to utilize a transfer function such as 1 by 1 plus e raised to minus cx. It will make my input data in normalized form, and in transfer function, once transfer function is being done, I am generating the output as a y1. So y1 is a function of sum of product of input and weightage factor, and likewise in each node activity is going on. This output y1 could be my hidden layer network, hidden layer number 2 node's input, or there could be n numbers of hidden layer to which these nodes are transferring the data until I reach to the y1 response provided. So I hope you understood what is happening in the node section. I have mentioned over here a transfer function. So what are these transfer function? There could be pure linear transfer function which is ranging from the plus infinity to minus infinity. As you can see over here, a line that is not in between 1 to 1, and generally this layer pure linear transfer function is used in the output layer such that I can produce a real-time output instead of plus between minus 1 and plus 1 or 0 to 1. Another one is the hyperbolic tangent, whose range is from minus 1 to the plus 1, and it can be utilized in the hidden layer. Another one is the logarithmic function, which is producing values between 0 to 1. As you can see over here, logarithmic scale 0 to 1 production will be there, and this also can be used in the hidden layer. And there are no rules, but I'm going to mention how we are going to do it good for production of good publication, to produce a good model to utilize in your industry. We are going to see in the next lecture too. So this is why my what I'm adapting a problem statement for producing a good result to get a productive answer. And there was a question in your mind, how I have applied this weight? What is the criteria for by which you are making this weight to generate this output? So there is a method named as the back propagation. So like I have said, a child learns by falling back, again falling, and then he tries to make a first step, balance. So he is developing a data over a series of operations. Similarly, I am producing a data in a series of operations. Let's see how. So first, initially I have applied the weight W1J, W2J, W3J, and I have produced a experiment having the experimental output. And what I have produced, Y1 with respect to the W1, W2 and W3J values, and which is nothing but the sum of product of this and transfer function and real-time value obtained by pure linear function for this y1 prediction. But there is a gap between this y1 and y experimental, as my weights are not activated in such manner to produce a experimental output and the much correlated approximate experimental output. So I am having an error between my generated value and the observed value, experimental value. This error is been noted. This error is processed by a local gradient. What I am doing, whatever transfer function I have used, I will take a derivative of this transfer function and call it as a local gradient, and this can be utilized as this derivative give me the correct answer, how much deviation is there. Through this local gradient I am going to modify these weights, and once these weights are modified, now error value was utilized for reducing the weight in such a manner that they can reach to this experimental value in order to reduce the this weight dabba E by dabba X. So I can find a correct result with respect to the newly generated data, and this process is continuous until I receive a very negligible gap between this error, or between experimental and the observed values. And this thing is known as training of artificial neural network. Whatever weight factor or the connection factor that we are adjusting is known as the training. So let's see definition. Training: adjusting a weight factor, connection factor, until output or target calculated from the given input reflected the desired cause and effect relationship. Desired cause and effect relationship. Whereas learning, it is the actual process of adjusting weight factor based on the trial and error. So mathematically, training a network is meant to minimize the error of a cost function such as mean squared error function, root mean square error function, while learning is the actual process of adjusting weight factor based on the trial and error. The training phase is finished when criteria selected such as least mean square error, gradient, epochs is minimized across all training experiment. The knowledge obtained during training phase is not stored as an equation or in a knowledge base, but it is distributed throughout the network in the form of the connection weight between the neurons. So what basically I am doing in training, I am just adjusting the weight through the backpropagation or whatever suitable algorithm that I am going to utilize to modify the weight. Over here you can see the neural networks model. There are n numbers of neural network models can be developed based on the judging criteria, based on the requirement. So there is a feed forward network, name itself indicate I am just forwarding or feeding it network to the next and next, like input given to the next layer, then next layer transferring it to the next of next layer, and it is transferring to the output. In this direction is they are unidirectional. Hopfield or recurrent network. In this you can see my input was there, it is provided to the layer 1, and again whatever generated output from the layer 1, it is again cross-feeded to the same layer. So it is Hopfield recurrent layer to layer recurrent. As you can see, input data again recurring is there, and then it is transferred to the next layer and to the generate the output. Cascade forward, I can transfer input layer to the first layer, and same input is been applied to the another layer too. So there could be various types of neural network models. However, in the environmental, chemical, or our most of the field, we are utilizing this input feed forward neural networks model. There are training algorithm rules to adjust the weight factor, connection factor. So there are Levenberg-Marquardt algorithm. In MATLAB, it is known by the train-LM. Gradient descent with momentum backpropagation. It is known by train-GDM in MATLAB. Resilient backpropagation, which is known by train-RP. Scaled conjugate gradient backpropagation, that is known or coded in the MATLAB by train-SCG. Bayesian regulation backpropagation, that is known as the train-BR. And there are other algorithms are also available, and choice is yours which algorithm to be used. These are nothing but a set of rules by which you are adjusting the weight factor. Then another thing we have observed, that is the cost error function. There is a difference between my predicted output and the experimental or the observed output, and to judge this how much variation is there, that I am calling it as a cost error function. So there could be mean sum error, MSE value, sum of square error, SSE value, root mean square of error, RMSE value, mean absolute error, MAE value, and cost error, whatever function you are using. The main criteria for error, my experimental output should reach to the predicted output. Sorry, my predicted output reach to the experimental output. That means Y experimental should be equal to the Y predicted. If this condition happens, the difference between them would be the 0, and thus I can say that my cost error function should be much closer to the 0 value. How we are going to present result in artificial neural network? So there are ways to present this result. I can have a R square and the equation Y with respect to the experimental and predicted value. As long as my Y is equal to 1, that means Y is equal to X, that means I am producing a exact result, and at that time I am getting a R square value equals to the 1. Second thing, that means this is a ideal one, that experimental and predicted value are much closer to, not exact to each other, whereas this could indicate a real-time situation, that experimental and predicted could not be same. There should be some lag between those values. However, this R square can justify your answers, how they are much correlated with each other, how much you can rely on the result. So generally this R square value should be closer to the 1. There is no hard and fast rule, but your value should be closer to the 1, and Y should be in this format, Y is equal to mx. And another thing that could be possible in our result, that experimental and predicted result having certain intercept between them. Although we are getting a good R square value, but we are having equation like Y is equal to mx plus c. Still I am saying that these networks are useful in finding the outcome that depends on the problem statement, that depends on the variability in the input data and the output data. Thus whatever values I am having, it's a matter of choice to adopt the network for prediction, how much closer result that network can be produced. And I just make sure that the network should be much more approximate. It should not learn the data to produce the desired result for the given input while training. It should adapt it for the unseen data also. It can give me an exact answer or the approximate much closer answer for a unseen data also. And that's why I'm saying that I can use each network, but that depends on the problem statement, which kind of problem I am modeling with the ANN. Let's take an example on an artificial neural network, and we are going to use a simple formula for weight modification. So generally at initial stage I need to give a weight to the my connection. That could be random, you can give a single weight, but you should give a weight earlier such that the network would start the developing. So I am having two nodes over here. My input is 0.1 and 0.9. Connection weight from the neuron 1 to the hidden layer neuron 1, that is 0.1. I can call it as a W11, W21. So 0.1 minus 0.1, 0.1, 0.3. Then from node hidden layer node 1 to the output layer node, I am having connection that is W31, 0.2 and W32, 0.3. And I have a experimental result of a 0.9. This is my experimental output or my desired result that I would like to produce through this network. I can apply some bias value such that it should not go under iterative things or the to produce a desired result. I am applying a bias value into my network. The rule I am going to use to modify is Wn1 n plus 1 is equal to Wn plus alpha into Wn1 plus gamma into delta n by y, where delta n is a local gradient which is a function of transfer function multiplied by the error. This could be by your algorithm. In present problem I have taken a simple formula for better understanding. So these are what my network weight are. Let's go through the first step that we have learned is the sum of product. So first output I have generated 0.1 into 0.1 plus 0.9 into 0.1 plus 0.1 like here 0.1 into 0.1 which is upper at this location, then 0.9 into 0.1 which is coming to this n1, so 0.1 into 0.1, 0.9 into 0.1 and this bias value 0.1. So I am getting a sum of product 0.17. Similarly I have utilized a transfer function which is 1 by 1 plus e raised to minus x. So I am getting a y1 as a 0.542. Similarly I am calculating for the n2, that is v2, y2, v3, y3 at this location. So my v2 is 0.36 and y2 is 0.589. That means from this n1 I am generating a y1, and from this network I am generating y2 which is having values equals to 0.542 and the 0.589. So V3 could be again sum of product of this y1 and w31 and y2 and w32 to generate this n2, and once output from this n3 is been reached, which is comes out to be 0.619. So how much error was there when I have applied a random weight of this w11, w22, w12, w22, w31 and w32? Through this random weight I am getting this value equal to 0.619. However, I would like to produce a result of 0.9. There was an error between my predicted value and the output generated, that is 0.281. So I have mentioned that I am going to modify this weight or through the algorithm. So these are the values associated with me, which are produced in the previous step. V1 0.17, Y1 0.548, 2, V2 0.36, Y2 0.589, V3 0.485, Y3 0.619. How much error was there? It was 0.281. What is my transfer function? That was 1 divided by 1 plus 1 minus e raised to minus x. And what I am supposed to do? I am supposed to do a derivation, right? So this is what my delta n. So I have calculated the delta n's value. I am calling it as a delta 3. That is, at this node I am passing this modification through this line now in the backward side. It is known as the back propagation. So delta 3 value obtained is the 0.0663. So now my updated weight, my formula is Wn plus 1 is equal to Wn plus alpha into Wn minus 1 into gamma into delta n into y. So it is 0.2 Wn value, that is this, multiplied by this are the constant taken, azimuthal constant I am taking over here, 0.001 multiplied by the 0.2, that is Wn minus 1 plus 0.25 into 0.0663, that is generated result, into error value, y value, that is 0.542. Clear? So I am having a new updated weight, that is 0.029. Previously it was 0.2, now it is having value of 0.2091. Similarly, W32 is produced, and now you can go to this network in this manner to the adjacent weight of W22, W12, W21 and W11 to generate a desired result, and you will reach a much closer value of it. So this practical application we are going to see in the next lecture, and today we have learned about predictive modeling through the artificial neural network. We have learned we have observed about the computing, briefed about a biological neural network. Then we have understood artificial neural networks, their components, artificial neural networks, their components of the artificial neural network, and how ANN works to produce a desired outcome. As now we have very well associated with this predictability and the backpropagation through a simple backpropagation algorithm with a simple where it is simple formula adopted for the backpropagation and its application to produce a generate this result. We can go up to the n numbers of iteration until I produce a desired outcome to this value. So in next lecture we are going to see how to utilize a MATLAB for it, and before that we are going to see how people have used this artificial neural network in their problem statement. I am going to show you my own paper published in the Desalination and Water Treatment Journal Taylor and Francis for prediction of the color removal from the textile wastewater. Thank you all for patience listening. Thank you. Thank you one and all.